We're here with Evan Pollitt from Summit Coffee and Brady Butler from Dilworth Coffee, and we're heading into that time of the year for the North Carolina State Fair. And for the second time, you're putting on a roasters competition. Tell me about that.
Yes, we are. Well, like you said, this is the second time we're doing this. North Carolina has some fantastic coffee roasters here in the state, and Dilworth Coffee is really happy to be working with the North Carolina State Fair to really shine a light on some of the awesome coffee we have in the state.
And we're going to go from the mountains to the coast. Is it the entire state kind of taking up the space there?
Yes, sir. We run the gamut from Asheville all the way out to eastern North Carolina.
And what are the rules of the competition? Obviously, you have to be a roaster. You have to produce and roast your own beans.
That's right. It's open to all roasters in North Carolina. We selected 12 of those. We're judging the brewed coffee. So each, what I'm doing right now is brewing a coffee like Evan will be doing on Friday.
Okay.
So representatives from each roaster will be brewing the coffee to be evaluated by judges.
And tell me a little bit about the process that you're going through here, because I think a lot of us, whether it's a K-cup or we're making a Mr. Coffee in a big pot, this is a little fancier.
Yeah, well, this is a manual pour-over method that I like, and he used a very similar one earlier. It works real similar to the way your home coffee brewer might, except it's all the variables are being controlled by the person that's doing the preparation. So it's a real great way to enjoy a delicious cup of coffee.
And serious about this in terms of you got it on the scale here, you're weighing the amount of coffee and you're measuring the amount of water. It's pretty specific in terms of that flavor that you're trying to develop.
Absolutely.
And Evan, tell us a little bit about winning last year. You were the roaster of the year last year at the State Fair.
Yeah, so Summit Coffee is who I roast for up in Davidson, North Carolina. We won last year with a Colombian coffee that I actually purchased in Colombia when I went down there on a trip last February. So that was really exciting, an opportunity to share that with the state. It was really cool being the first year that we had the State Fair competition. And as a new roaster at the time, it was really exciting to be a part of that.
Let me ask you sort of a non-aficionado question.
Sure.
Say you've got 5 different brewers and they all get the same bean. Can you get a different flavored coffee by the way it's roasted and the length of time and the amount of roasting it gets from that one bean and 5 different roasters?
Absolutely. The bean itself is going to have certain characteristics based on the origin and the processing and things like that. But the way you roast it, the length of time, the degree, the temperature, can really affect the flavor of the coffee. And then when you get to the brewer, you see the one Brady was using. I used a different brewer this morning for the one we're going to taste. That'll have different flavor characteristics that it can bring out as well.
Let's bring in Kristen and Coach now because we want to taste the coffee.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. It's going to go great with this chicken dish. Yeah.
Hi guys.
How are you?
Good.
It's
your
the
coffee,
part
you
of the
can tell
meal
them
that
about
most people like. You know, you finish your dinner with a cup of coffee and maybe a dessert, or if you're like us on the morning show, you just swill coffee all morning long to try to stay awake.
Well,
you need coffee.
Yeah, I sort of feel like we're not doing coffee justice by doing it that way. Like when you see such a careful attention to making this beautiful cup of coffee.
Coach,
What do you got?
here you
Oh,
go.
it
Thank you
smells
very
good
much.
too.
It does smell good.
See now this
And tell us again quickly what we're tasting here.
Yeah,
What
so this is a coffee that I brought up with me. It's a dry processed Ethiopian coffee. That means that the fruit of the coffee cherry is left on it while the seed dries. So that gets going to give you a lot of those really bright aromas. Should get a lot of raspberry, maybe some dark chocolate out of the roast a little bit. But it should be a pretty upfront coffee,
is.
pretty easy to distinguish some of those flavors.
Now, what do you say when somebody wants to take this coffee that we're drinking black and they want to put cream and sugar and
Kind of like I do
Or ruin
in the
it.
morning.
No. I just ask that people try it once first,
Yeah.
just to get an idea of it. Some of these coffees can be pretty sweet, so adding some
Yeah.
sugar to it might take it over the top.
Really
And
good.
then, if whatever it takes for you to enjoy it, enjoy
Yeah.
your coffee. It's a very
Okay.
personal thing sometimes.
Yeah, I mean this has got a lot of good flavor.
Yeah, it does.
is this the best way to get the most out of a brew like this, or a French press, or does it matter? Is it just what your personal preference is?
You know, it does come down a lot to personal preference. I do find that some coffees respond better to some way of preparation or over another, and I find this method that I use today is a really good neutral canvas, and
Okay.
it represents everything pretty well. But if you really love a French press and that thick body,
Yeah.
go for it.
And is there a wrong way to do it? Is there, if there was one way you said, just don't make your coffee that way and it'll taste better?
I think the biggest thing for good coffee is to get good, fresh, locally roasted coffee. That's the biggest thing.
And I've always heard that too, like in the restaurant world. You don't want your coffee to be open and sitting out and open to the air for a long time because, like anything else, it can become stale.
Exactly.
Absolutely. We have so many great roasters in North Carolina. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.